The Cleveland Cavaliers are 18-3, sitting on top of the Eastern Conference. Now, this Cavs team is driven by workhorse Donovan Mitchell and coach Kenny Atkinson, and this team could be the first contending Cleveland team since LeBron James. Now, last night, the Cavs pulled off a huge come-from-behind win against the favorite Boston Celtics. This win would put the Cleveland Cavaliers one game ahead of the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. This was huge due to the fact the Cleveland Cavaliers started 15-0, then in a one-week span, dropped 3 out of the 4 games they played. So this is a huge boost of confidence to beat basically the #1 team in basketball, the Boston Celtics. Now, I hinted that the Cleveland Cavaliers were 15-0 to start the season, and we'll get to that later on in the video. But is this the year for the Cleveland Cavaliers to win the Larry O'Brien trophy? Stick around to the very end to hear what I think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Let's get right into the video. Now, let's start off on how this Cleveland Cavaliers team was built. Now, obviously, this is the post-LeBron James era rebuild, and I think they did a phenomenal job. Let's start off with the draft picks. Obviously, they drafted Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Isaac Okoro, with a few non-important players along the way. Now, the other acquisitions are pretty big too. They pretty much got Jared Allen for absolutely nothing. Last offseason, they gave a bag to Max Strus and Georges Niang. In this offseason, they made their best signing, in my opinion, signing Ty Jerome. Probably thinking, who is Ty Jerome? We'll get to that later in the video. He's hooping. And then, of course, the trade to get their #1 player, Donovan Mitchell. I still think it was a W trade for the Cleveland Cavs. Now, the team you see right now has gone through ups and downs as an organization. 2 years ago, they were bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Last season, they were bounced by the Celtics in the second round. And this season, they're coming for vengeance in the Eastern Conference. This may be the same team on paper, but mindset-wise, this Cavs team is just different. Now, in my opinion, most of it leans on Kenny Atkinson. The players love playing for Coach Kenny Atkinson. And now, of course, Coach Kenny was under the wing of Steve Kerr for many, many years, seeing what it actually takes to win a championship in this day's NBA. And that's something JB Biggerstaff could never do. Something he also could never do was unlock the true potential in his young stars. And Kenny Atkinson has given the freedom to Darius Garland, to Evan Mobley, to go score the basketball and play with absolute freedom. Now, let's get to the streak. One of the best starts to the NBA season of all time. One of the longest win streaks ever. 15-0. The Cleveland Cavaliers start the season 15-0. Now, obviously, you can see all the teams they've beat. Some of the more notables include the Golden State Warriors, New York Knicks, Orlando Magic. And besides that, it wasn't really anybody spectacular, but they were given the schedule and they dominated it until they ran into the Boston Celtics in the TD Garden. Now, granted, the Cavaliers were without Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and Karis LeVert, and they lost by 3 points. But later on that week, they dropped 2 straight games to the Atlanta Hawks. But it's kind of crazy because this Hawks team just decides to lose to the Wizards, but beats the Celtics and the Cavs twice. But then, of course, last night, they beat the Boston Celtics in a huge come-from-behind win where Donovan Mitchell went absolutely insane. Like, as a Celtics fan, I was like, are you serious? Why is the ball still in his hands? Bang, 3, bang, 3, and then bang, another 3, all in just the fourth quarter. Like, come on, bro. But, I'm not being biased for this video. Donovan Mitchell, you're an absolute menace on the basketball court. Now, you'd think they're 18-3. Donovan Mitchell may be an MVP candidate. No, because none of their players really stand out statistic-wise. And you may be thinking, well, why is that? Well, it's because they have too many mouths to feed, and it's working because statistically, they're the #1 offense in the whole NBA. They rank #1 in points per game, #1 in field goal percentage, #1 in three-point field goal percentage, and top 10 in free throw percentage, and top 10 in assists. This is an elite offensive basketball team. And when you have the defense of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, this team's only going to get better. So let's zero in and what is making this offense so great. Obviously, this offense is led through Donovan Mitchell, who's giving them 25 points per night. And what's so special about Spida Mitchell is his ability to create his own shot at any point on the basketball court. Now, next to him is Darius Garland, who last season was kind of falling off a cliff, but Coach Kenny Atkinson has brought him up and he's playing great this season. And then, of course, at the 3 is Isaac Okoro. Nothing really special, but he's kind of that 3-and-D player that every championship team needs. And then the bigs, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who are the defensive anchors to this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And in my opinion, Evan Mobley will be a top 10 player in this game at some point throughout his career. And I think the numbers speak for himself. He's a 7-foot power forward who's a defensive beast. He's one of the best post players in the NBA today. And what's sticking out to me this season, he's trying to evolve his outside shot. And I'm not just going to skip over Jared Allen, but Jared Allen, you're not like this crazy poppy player, but you do exactly what you need to do for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and that's why you win basketball games. Of course, then they have Max Strus, Karis LeVert, Georges Niang, but the spark off the bench I'm talking about this season is Ty Jerome. Okay, I'm about to pop up his stats from last year and stats from this season. You got to see the difference. Look at that. 2 points per game to 11 points per game. He didn't even hit a 3 last season, and now he's shooting 50% from behind the arc, and he's shooting 57% from the field. This is just insane. This is just insane. Every team needs a Ty Jerome. But after all that, is it enough to compete in the Eastern Conference? The answer is yes. This season, the Eastern Conference has been extremely mid. Besides the Celtics and the Cavs, well, pretty much everybody's been either mid or completely ass. Teams who we thought would be in contention, like the 76ers, completely ass. The Bucks have finally started to click, but they're still in that mid tier until Chris Middleton comes back. And teams like the Knicks, they're just mid too. Maybe they'll take a second half push, but the Knicks are mid. And the only team I could see contending, and it's crazy to say, is the Orlando Magic, who are on an absolute tear right now and have not even lost at home without Paulo Banchero. So in my opinion, it's the Cavs versus the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Let me know down below how many games and who would win this series. In my opinion, I have the Celtics in 7 games. It's not going to be an easy series for the Celtics, and it's of course not going to be an easy series for the Cavs. But these are 2 powerhouses in the Eastern Conference, and I'm up for the 7-game series. If you stay for this long, do not forget to subscribe down below. 99% of you watching are not subscribed. Hit the follow button for more perfect NBA content like this. My name's Cam. Peace.